Hello, fellow seniors, or elders, or baby boomers, or renegades, whatever we want to call ourselves, or those of you who are technically challenged. Welcome. My name is Bill. For the last 8 years, I worked as a part-time specialist at an Apple store. And yes, they let me do that. It was challenging at times, but I truly enjoyed it. I especially enjoy talking to people like yourselves, a little bit older, a little bit more challenged technically. I had many conversations with people our age talking about that, and they appreciated seeing me with my gray hair. I knew some of the pain they were going through and the fact that we did not grow up with this technology. So I'm here to help you along with some of the issues or some of the information that you might need if you are planning on buying an iPhone. I would assume that you already have an iPhone. You're upgrading. If you're moving over from Android, it may be a little bit more challenging, but hopefully this will help with that also. And you may be able to make comparisons to the phone you have now. Most of us have to upgrade eventually. We have challenges with our older phones. The biggest issue that I saw coming in the store was battery, especially if you had a 12, 13 and below. You weren't even getting a full day of battery on your phone, and that's extremely frustrating. We do need these devices. Calling it a phone is a misnomer because it does so much more. It's funny to think about all the things we owned or carried around that are now all included in this one device. So let's talk about the 17E. The 17E was just released in March of 2026. I'm filming this in March, so it literally just came out. The full 17 line came out last fall, as most iPhone releases do. But the 17E may be a good option if you're upgrading. And I want to go through some of the features of this phone, and I will also cover the other phones in the 17 series. One of the nice things about these new phones is, unlike your phone in terms of storage, you probably have 128 gigabytes. You might even have 64 gigabytes. You might have purchased 256, but now they all start at 256. As does the 17E. The 17E is offered in 256 gigabytes and 512 gigabytes. Now, I want to tell you, I have another video that prepares you to buy an iPhone, what you need to know before you buy an iPhone. And we'll cover the storage and many of the other things about your phone that will help you purchase a new phone. So the 17E does start at 256, which is really nice. It's about the same size as most of the phones. They're all around 6 inches. I'm talking about the standard phones, not the smaller ones or the larger ones. And this one is just below 6 inches. The weight is about 6 ounces, so that hasn't changed much. One of the nice things about this phone is for the first time they've included, at least for a phone of this price point, a Super Retina XDR display. So all that means is that you're getting a lot brighter, a lot clearer, easier to read, easier to watch videos. So that's really nice. It has a ceramic shield in the front, which just protects it a lot more than the older phones if you drop it. So that's also included in this phone. It's brighter, clearer, resolution's better. It has an anti-reflective coating, which is nice. So if you're outdoors or fluorescent lights, it's going to be a lot better on the eyes. It's splash, water, and dust resistance, not waterproof. Don't drop it in the toilet. That's not going to work. But it will resist rain and other moisture that you might come across. It's got a new chip. It's got an A19. And what that's going to do is just make it a lot easier, a lot faster, and easier to download the many software updates that Apple sends out. They do it quite often nowadays, and I got to tell you that a lot of that has to do with security. And that's one of the reasons you buy an Apple phone or any Apple product. They're protecting you against the many hackers or criminals that are trying to get your information to break into your phone one way or the other. You don't need any special software. So the updates keep coming. They're staying as far ahead as the hackers as they can. And that's one of the reasons of the updates. Plus they add new features constantly. So the A19 chip is going to be great for that. Let's talk about the camera. Camera is real important on an iPhone. So your phone most likely has a 12 megapixel camera. You might have a Pro and it'll be 12 megapixels on all three cameras. This camera has a 48 megapixel camera. It's got one camera. It does have a 2 times telephoto zoom in the optical mode, which maintains the resolution, but you can also zoom 10 times in the digital mode. And you can shoot up to 4K video, which is really great. So you're getting a lot of resolution on this new phone. The front camera is also, it's still a 12 megapixel, but it's what's called a true depth camera. So it has a lot of the resolution. Again, it just takes in so much more when you're shooting with that camera. Usually that camera is used for selfies, but you can also shoot 4K video on that also, up to 4K video. So quality is great. Battery is so important on phones, and that's maybe one of the reasons that you need to update. I've seen every generation of phone. I've owned every generation of phone since I worked at Apple, and I've never seen so much battery time on a phone. And this is no exception. Apple claims they measure it in video playback. So they say up to 26 hours of video playback. Well, you're not going to be playing back video for 26 hours, but you should get definitely a full day, if not 2 days, without having to charge. But you do want to charge it, and it charges a lot faster. Apple's claiming it's up to 50% charge in 30 minutes using a 20-watt adapter. So that's pretty cool. Now, you'll notice there's no more home button. For those of you who love the home button and use the Touch ID, that's long gone. We haven't seen that for quite a few years. So now you're going to get used to swiping. You swipe from the bottom up, hit the app, and then when you want to close the app, just swipe up again. If you want to close out the apps in the background, you just go halfway up and you can just swipe them out. You still have the pin pads for entering in your passcode, either 4 or 6 digits, or you can use Face ID. Face ID is great technology, recognizes your face, opens a phone, but you can also use it for opening apps, so you don't have to punch in a code every time you open an app. So you definitely want to set up Face ID. It has emergency SOS now via satellite. Now the satellite technology has been around for a little while. It will work on an iPhone 14 and above if you have software update from iOS 18 and above. So you can use a satellite connection when you have no cellular or Wi-Fi coverage to text emergency services, request roadside assistance, message friends and family, and share your location. And it's built into all the new phones, including the 17E. The iPhone 17E has got an upgraded modem, so the signal from your carrier should be a lot stronger. And the buttons are pretty much the same in terms of the volume, but it does have a newer button that was included over the last few years. It's called the Action button. It's the same place as where you mute your phone. And on your phone, it's probably a little switch. Turns off the ringer when you go to the movies or the theater. In this case, it defaults to that. So now you just press that button and it mutes the ringer. But you can turn the ringer on and off by going to the control center. You just swipe down on the right, hit the bell, it mutes it, and you can unmute it. And that frees up the Action button to use as a shortcut for several other apps. You can use the translator, flashlight, visual intelligence, which we'll be talking about when I discuss the other phones. So you have a lot of options here. Now I want to go back to the control center once again because this could be useful. So once again, you swipe down on the right side of your phone and it offers several useful shortcuts like turning off airplane mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You can increase or decrease the brightness or the volume. It's got a calculator, it's got a flashlight. So it's definitely worth checking out. Now, in terms of charging your phone, the Apple phones and all devices now use USB-C. You're probably using the lightning cable, plugging it into a USB adapter into the wall. Now it's all USB-C, and a USB-C cable comes with the phone. You will need an adapter. Apple sells 20-watt adapters for $19. You can get a 40-watt adapter if you need it to charge a little faster. It also has MagSafe. Last year, the 16E came out. It was the first time they came out with this E series in March, but it didn't allow the use of MagSafe, and now this one does. And MagSafe is a way of charging your phone wirelessly. There's a lot of different devices that use MagSafe. You can use it in your car, by your bedside. So this phone does have that. It does have Apple Intelligence. We can cover that a little bit more with the other phones. And it has the dual SIM card. Now you have, if you have a 13 and below, you most likely have a SIM card in your phone. It's a physical card that comes from the carriers. It's on the side. There's a little hole, and you put a paper clip in there. A drawer opens out. That's gone. That was a security issue because somebody could steal your card and have access to some of your information. So now it's all eSIM. It's digital SIM. There's two of them, which is really nice because now you can have two phone numbers. You could have, say, one for business, one for personal. If you're traveling, you can put an international SIM in there. So that's all included. The iPhone 17e starts at $599 for 256 gigabytes and jumps up to $799 for 512 gigabytes. Most of you should be fine with 256 gigabytes, especially if you're using iCloud. But you have the option to get more if you want for $200 more. Now let's talk about the other phones in the 17 series. So the 17 series came out in the fall. The entry-level phone is the iPhone 17. So what does the 17 have that the 17e doesn't have? It has all the features of the 17e plus. One of the things it has is what's called ProMotion 120 hertz. It's called a refresh rate, and this is going to give you smoother video on playback and a refresh rate for better battery life. It has a dynamic island. The top of the screen displays various alerts and notifications. The greatest feature of the 17 is the camera control, this button on the lower right of the phone. If you tap it, the camera opens. Tap it again, you take the shot. If you need to get a shot really quickly, there it is. But it has another purpose. If you hold the button in, it opens what's called visual intelligence. What is visual intelligence? Well, it enables you to identify things. So for example, let's say you see a pair of shoes and you want to know what brand they are or where to find them. You point the camera at the shoes, hit the side button, and it takes you to Google and shows you. So it's really meant for identifying things. So for example, if you're on a hike, you see a bird, a tree, a flower, and you point the camera at it, it'll identify it for you. And if you see a sign in another language, it will translate. It's a great feature. And it is also available on the 17e, by the way, but since there's no camera control button, you can set it on the action button. The camera itself is a 48 megapixel camera, just like the E. This has two cameras. One of them is the main camera, 48 megapixels on that, and the ultra wide. A new feature on the front camera is called center stage. When you take a selfie, you can hit the button and it reverts to landscape, so you can include more people in the shot. And the video has action mode, which is great if you are moving. You want to do one of these cool tracking shots where you're walking along and just filming, or you're in a car and filming what's out the window as the passenger. It has action modes which smooths it out. And you can also do what's called macro. So if you're shooting out in nature again, you want to get a close-up of a flower or a plant, you can get really close up with the macro. I also want to show you the cleanup app in the photos. So if you hit those three lines, hit cleanup, use your finger to erase something in the photo, and ding, it's done. I'm going to hit the reset button because I want the bird in the picture, but it's great for getting rid of stuff that you don't want in a photo. So those are some of the additional features of the 17. It sells for $799, $999 for 512 gigabytes, and it comes in black, white, mist blue, sage, and lavender. Now let's talk about the 17 Pro and the Pro Max. What does the 17 Pro have that the other two don't have? First of all, the ceramic shield that I told you about on the other two phones, on the front of the other two phones, are on the front and the back of this phone. So you're getting double protection. It has the A19 Pro chip, so you're getting even more power with this phone. The additional camera on this, there are 3 cameras. The additional one is the 48 megapixel telephoto. So this gives you up to 8 times optical zoom, but 40 times digital zoom. And you've got to see that just demonstrated if you go to the store and see how far you can zoom with a 40 times digital zoom. Now the other two phones have a storage capacity of 256 and 512. This one goes up to a terabyte. That could be useful if you're not using cloud, which I don't recommend, but if you are, if you aren't using cloud and you're taking a lot of photos and videos, you might need to go up to a terabyte. Now, one of the reasons this is a Pro camera is it has what's called ProRes RAW. This is a term that photographers use. What RAW means is that when you take a shot, you're getting the full resolution of the picture. It's not compressing it like a JPEG. And now you have the ability to expand it to make poster size prints, for example. You can go into a software like Photoshop and really tweak it manually in many ways. It also has what's called ProRes video. So high-res video, if you're shooting in 4K, you're getting cinema level video. It eats up storage, but if you're somewhere where you just want to get the best video possible, it has that ability. It has a studio quality 4 mic array, so the sound going into the phone is going to be a little bit better. Things are going to sound better, and that's included in the 17 Pro. The 17 Pro starts at $1099 for 256 gigabytes, which is $500 more than the 17E and $300 more than the 17, and goes up to a terabyte. The Pro Max starts at $1199 and goes up to $1999 for 2 terabytes. So you can actually buy an iPhone for $2,000 if you're so inclined. The 17 Pro Max is a larger version of the Pro, and it's for those of you who like the big phone. We talked about people who want the smaller phones. Many people want the bigger phones, and this is probably the biggest selling phone that the 17 series. There are pluses and minuses, and I would recommend trying it out, going to a store and seeing how it feels in your hand, in your pocket. Is it too bulky? But the advantage is you've got a bigger screen, so easier to see, great for watching movies, but just better on the eyes. So you may want to go with that size phone. So it is larger, heavier. It does have a slightly stronger battery, although the 17 Pro, like I said, 17E, 17 and the Pro have outstanding batteries. This is a little bit better, but it's a bigger phone. So you need a little bit better battery. And with this phone, you can go up to 2 terabytes of storage. I don't know. I doubt you'll need 2 terabytes, but it's there if you need it. Now, there's one other phone that Apple came out with in the fall. It's called the iPhone Air. The iPhone Air is kind of in between the others, but the key feature of it is its size. It's thin. It's a thin version of the iPhone. Thinnest ever. They've never had an iPhone that felt like this. And again, if you feel it in your hand, it's lightweight and just easy to hold. It also has an A19 Pro chip. Now the camera on this is similar to the 17E. You only get the one camera. And I think, because it's so thin, it's limited in terms of what it can put inside that phone. Now, I've got to tell you that this phone has, to me, some limitations, and a lot of it has to do with the battery. Obviously, in a phone this thin, they can't put in a battery that's going to last as long as the others. So what Apple did was release at the same time a battery pack that clicks on to the back of this phone. Only this phone. Well, kind of defeats the purpose of a thin phone if you have to have a battery pack. So I love Apple phones. I love the 17 series. I personally would not recommend this phone unless you absolutely love the thinness and you're willing to deal with compensate for the battery. Then check it out. It is $9.99, so it's more than the 17 and the 17E. It comes in space black, cloud white, light gold, and sky blue. So there it is. There's some options, and I highly recommend, if you can, to go to an Apple store to try these phones, to see them, see what the colors look like, hold them, look at some of these features I talked about. They will do a demo for you, the specialists. But before you go to an Apple store, or even before you buy an iPhone, please watch my other video, how to prepare to buy an iPhone. Because it's not walking in, getting your phone and walking out. There are various issues involved, steps that need to be taken before you can get an activated phone. And there is a lot of other things that we talk about, including trade-in, iCloud, Apple Care, all those things that you need to know. And it's better for you to know before you go into a store, or even if you're buying it online. So watch my other video, like and support this channel, and put some comments down below. If I left something out, I probably did. And you can email me. I left my email address. So I'm here to answer some questions for you. I also have a video on the Apple Watch. It saves lives. And I'll be doing another one on the iPad and the computers, the Macs. So check them out, and I'll see you soon. Take care.